I want to go to Bill Hemmer right now, the America Newsroom host. He's everywhere, as you know. There's no one better at this particular art form here, following on a map exactly what's going on in Ukraine. Bill, thanks for joining us. What can you tell us?
It's kind of like looking through a straw, Neil, to be honest with you. We're trying to pick up various reports on the ground and inside of Ukraine, the Pentagon, senior defense officials, trying to put together a story for what's happening here. Neil, here's what I will tell you, is that the Russian army, although this past weekend had several setbacks, is on a slow, steady, deliberate march through Ukraine, okay? And a lot of the action has been down here in the south. That's not to disregard what's happening in the north, the capital city, Kyiv, and in the east, near Kharkiv, et cetera. But really, when we woke up this morning, just going through all the news and the headlines, trying to piece together the story, this is where the Russian military is now on the move. Now, they've had Crimea for 8 years, okay? So that's been theirs. And when they came out of Crimea some 8 days ago, very little resistance here. And this town, Mariupol, it fell quickly. It's not a very populated town. Nonetheless, it went down. Now, Neil, here's what seems to be the case. It seems to be the case that the area of Donbass here that's really been controlled by the Russians for the past 8 years, that's where the majority of the Ukrainian army had been established, dug in, ready to face another front against the Russian army. You can understand why that would be, okay? So this is Mariupol. It's a city of about 500,000 people. There has been significant fighting in there for the past 3 days. And there hasn't been a lot of images or video out of that town, but based on the reporting we're getting, the Ukrainians are trying to hold off the Russian military, but it has been intense. It has been fierce. They've been surrounded and bombarded now, hit from the sea and also from land. However, when you move further west, it's a little more difficult to assess. Kherson, apparently, it's a town of about 300,000, Neil. The mayor confirms that it's fallen to Russian forces. Our defense officials don't confirm that, but the mayor has said that. There's been very little reporting about a pushback on behalf of the Ukrainian army. And why would that be? Well, it's in all likelihood, it's because the Ukrainian army was in the wrong place when this invasion happened. Again, they're over here in the Donbass region largely, for that matter. What is the objective now on behalf of the Russians? They want to go after Odessa. They haven't done it yet, but they're definitely making a move toward it. And then what you would get is what's been talked about, this land bridge, Neil, that would cover area that the Russian army already holds prior to the invasion 8 days ago. Then they take Mariupol. Then they work their way west. Kherson would be theirs, and eventually, perhaps in a few days, Odessa might be the next city that's surrounded. And if there's not a surrender in place there on behalf of the Ukrainian people, then there would be a fight over Odessa. We see what's established here. Neil, I think you have been showing this video, perhaps, of the Ukrainian people. These are civilians now. They get out in the street, they stand in front of tanks and armored personnel carriers, and they try to stop the forward march of the Russian military. There is a nuclear plant here in the town of Headquartered, all right? And you can see the video. There are thousands of Ukrainians in that street. And they're trying to affect the advance of the Russian military. We'll see in time whether or not they are effective in doing that. I'll just pop up here to the north. This is our understanding. We believe this convoy has been stalled for the most part, not to suggest that it's not inching forward, but the convoy is about 16 miles outside the capital city, Kyiv. So let's say it's right in this area here. We believe, based on Putin's comments earlier today in Moscow, that his objective is to still take the capital city of Kyiv. And senior defense officials also would confirm that they believe that's the case as well. And they think they would largely circle the city of Kyiv. And if that happens, Neil, all the bombardment that you're watching on these missiles and rockets that are fired on these cities, that would happen in the capital city also. The difference is, I showed you a moment ago, all those cities in the south, they have a fraction of the population the capital city has. You're talking 3 million people. And if you got 1 million refugees already, you know, how much higher does that number go? But the convoy has not much advance. In the outline that we have here in red, we still believe, we're still pretty confident that that is as far as the Russian army has gone. So that's what we believe at the moment is the state of play in this war.
Just amazing, Bill. you know, I don't want to sound like I'm in this black helicopter crowd that suspects we're seeing a head fake here, but so much attention has been on this 40-mile caravan of Russian tanks, largely in the north, as you pointed out, that we lose sight of the fact that, you know, with Kherson going down, the Russians control a good deal of the south. So there is a strategy here. It's a ruthless strategy that maybe we're not grasping. So you certainly pointed it out there. But maybe we're so tied up in this convoy and where it's going that we're missing the bigger picture.
And the bigger picture is what we began with. It is slow, it is steady, it's deliberate. And maybe, Neil, a month from now, we're talking and we're thinking, you could see this happening. You could see that Putin, you know, being the ruthless leader that he is, you know, the way he acted in Chechnya 20 years ago is the same thing is happening now. But the difference is, Neil, there were no cameras in Chechnya. All right? We didn't see that. We've got it 24/7 now, and it doesn't seem to deter him. Not yet.
Yeah. I always wonder with these people trying to stop these tanks or vehicles. We all remember Tiananmen Square. There was no video of that, what happened afterwards to that guy who was standing in front of the tank, because there was very little that came from there.
It's quite the moment.
I do wonder what's really going on here. Bill, that was riveting, and it's a good overview. Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, you bet. Good to be with you, Neil.